Artist block is a creative obstacle that prevents an artist from creating work. So basically, you have the desire to create something, but you can't. Whether you work with paint, chalk, colored pencils, crayons, a camera, thread, etc., you probably have experienced art block. In fact, you probably have it now if you're watching this video. So how do you know if you have art block? You might be like,
oh no, I don't have art block, I'm just tired.
That's art block. I'll give you some personal examples. In all my years of having art block over and over again, it comes in different waves and intensities. One thing that keeps blocking my path is me. I get so full of myself and in my head just thinking that like every single day I need to be creating something and that every time it has to be perfect. I've spent days, weeks, months just like feeling sad and feeling stuck and ashamed of myself for just like thinking this way and not being able to get myself out of it quickly enough because I feel like I physically cannot do anything. If I'm going through something and you put a paintbrush and a canvas in front of me, I'm not gonna know what to do with it. Unless maybe you give me some specific verbal instructions, I don't know what to do, sorry. Sometimes I'll look at what I really want to do, I'll look at what everyone else is doing, and then I'll look at the things that like I'm actually doing with my life. And I just physically cannot bring myself to do anything creative. And it sucks. It sucks really, really bad. And it happens a lot. I don't like to brag, but I am a little bit conceited and I'm always thinking about myself in the sense that like, I think everyone else is better than me and I'll never be able to live up to their expectations. So that's me. Now you might be saying,
okay, well that's you, that's not me.
I want to draw this thing. I want to capture this image that I have in my head. It's just hard. One of the things that I've learned is that all of us as human beings are much more alike than we realize. In the sense that like we all feel the same things and go through similar experiences more often than not. The bottom line is that you are not alone. Maybe for you it's a different intensity and you don't realize it. Maybe for you it comes in a different form that's just not very usual. So how do you know if you have artist block? If you're questioning it, you probably have it. You have art block if there's something that you want to make, but something else is stopping you from making that thing. Whether it's you, whether that's your kids, or maybe it's the thought that humans will probably make themselves go extinct and there's nothing you can do about it because our worldly leaders are greedy, money-hungry people who no longer believe in humanity. Maybe. Sorry, that kind of came out of nowhere. Not really. It's something I think about very often, actually. If you want to paint, but your head hurts and it hurts to think about anything or look at anything, art block. If you want to draw something, but there's people in your house that won't stop talking and the TV's too loud, art block. If you actually take care of others and have a job and other responsibilities and you physically cannot find the time most days, art block. If you have the time and place, instead you just sit there thinking about how you want to do something and you need to do something, but you just can't, art block. If you have too many options around you of things to do and you get overwhelmed because you can't pick one, art block. If you're going through some sort of physical or mental trauma and you physically cannot do anything, like a sickness or a sore leg, really anything is valid, art block. Now, why does this happen? As I mentioned before, it could be an outside obstacle in your life, or it could just be your own self-doubting thoughts. More often than not, it's you. Sorry, we are our own problems a lot of the times. It's okay, it happens. Things that have to do with you and your outlook and the way that you handle things. Things like stress, burnout, lack of inspiration, and imposter syndrome, and a whole bunch of other things. Art block is almost inevitable when it comes to the creative process. From what I've seen and what I've heard, every single artist has gone through some sort of art block, and if you think you have it, you probably have, or you very soon will be. But if you're able to learn about it and where it comes from, you can help manage it better and figure your way out of it or around it in the future, because it's gonna take a lot of practice. A lot of practice. I've been doing this for I don't know how many years now, and I still get stuck in my art block, and sometimes it takes a week or two to get out of it. It just happens. It's different for everybody. Here are some tips and tricks to help get you out of your art block. The first one is kind of obvious, but like it's not to a lot of people. Take a break. Take an intentional break. Don't just like put the stuff down. Like Maybe put it away if you can. Put it away if you can. Get it like out of your sight completely. And in this break, you could pursue other hobbies. I find that for my mental health, it's really important for me to go outside, go get some sun and touch some grass. Now, if you live in Alaska, you probably can't see the sun for a while. Maybe look at a picture of the sun. I don't know how it works over there. I'm so sorry. But getting fresh air is a really great thing. I don't think people realize how important fresh air and just like being outside in nature is. I hate to break it to you, but a lot of the times when people like self-help books and they say things like, oh, go outside, go in the sun, go for a walk, do some exercise. Yeah, those things work. Sorry, but they actually work. And if you don't believe it, you're gonna need to be open-minded when you do it, because then it's not gonna work if you're just grumpy the whole time. But like, it works, so I'm sorry. If you're like stuck and you just like don't know what to draw, there's always like prompt generators on the internet, and personally I don't really like to use those. I feel like they just never come up with what I want. Very, very rarely will it come up with something so random that I think of something else that I actually really like. But yeah, I would not recommend art prompts unless you're the type of person to like thrive off of those. And go ahead, I mean, try it out. I personally love romanticizing your own life. If you're a photographer and you feel like you can only find the beauty in the outside, in actual nature, I think that that's wrong. I think there's beauty all around. I think there's beauty in a home, there's beauty in people, there's beauty in the streets. I think that there's so much that we as creatives can draw our inspiration from. But if you're not that type of person to be that creative, that's okay. I'm not either most of the time. Let's move on, it's okay. My next tip would be to just like do something that's not perfect. If you are a perfectionist like me, you might benefit from doing something that's not gonna be perfect. For me, that means painting something very, very loosely, making sure that like you can see the brush strokes and it's like more abstract, because I don't normally like to do that kind of art, but when I'm in a creative rut, sometimes it just like helps to have that other perspective and other like point of view. That's kind of that's the same thing as perspective. I don't know what the word is, but like I think you get what I'm trying to say, right? So trying to be less perfect in the thing that you think you need to be perfect in. And as much as it's gonna make you cringe, in the end I think you'll be appreciative of it. Hopefully. I'm always gonna recommend for people to take on a different creative hobby. Now, it doesn't have to be like a big, fancy, expensive thing. I like to do a little bit of everything, but I find that the easiest hobby for someone to pick up is coloring. I think coloring is so fun, so easy, and there's many ways you can go about coloring. I personally have a lot of coloring books. I'm not even gonna think of how many I have because I have a lot. And I have a lot of different varieties. I have a couple intricate ones that are more like detailed, not like this, more like this. I also have like simple baby coloring pages, like for 3-year-olds. And I like them because they're simple and I can do whatever I want with it. And sometimes instead of making the colors exactly what they need to be, I will grab random colors out of my coloring bag and just use it. And sometimes it doesn't look good, but sometimes it's like, hey, it just looks different. And that's okay. So take up another hobby. Color if you want. I love coloring. I even have an app for coloring. I rave about this app all the time. I love my coloring app. A lot of it is AI generated, I think now. I think it's always has been, but I love it. Sorry. It's free if you guys want to check it out. Kind of like taking on a new hobby, I would suggest doing something that's not creative at all. Don't try to be creative when you feel like you physically can't. When your mind is just not in that headspace, don't try it. It's okay. Do something else. Watch some of your favorite movies, but like make sure they're good. Don't like watch the same thing over and over again just because it's comfortable. Watch something new maybe. Or if it is your favorite for a reason because it like brings you actual joy or something, watch it. Do things that feel nice and comfortable and familiar, because in that way your mind's not like spiraling out of control with different and new things all the time. You thought that I was kidding, but I'm so serious when I say that mental health and like giving yourself a spa day is so important. Taking care of yourself mentally and physically is actually one of the best things to do. This sounds like so silly and so simple, but if you're not drinking water, if you're not staying hydrated and like feeding yourself, of course you're gonna feel terrible. Your body's not getting any nutrients. Take care of yourself. Go to sleep, take a nap. I need so many naps nowadays. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or if I'm getting more stressed out, but I'm taking naps like crazy now. And a part of me is complaining, but also, hey, at least I'm not doing anything else with my time, okay? I'm just sleeping, it's fine. All of my work, everything that I do is inspired from other artists, inspired by artists that I look up to. So if you have it in you, try to recreate something that comes from one of your favorite artists. Whether that be a painting that you want to recreate, whether that be a sculpture, whatever inspiration finds you and whatever you feel most attracted to, like it pulls you in more, try it out. Try to recreate it, see what happens. And if you can't do it exactly like them, if it doesn't look like it, if it doesn't look as good, it's not going to, because you're not them. It's gonna look like yours, because you're you. And when I say take inspiration, sometimes I mean copy. Not like copy and pass it off as your own original thing. No, copy, give credit where credit is due, but copy in the way that you want to find their process. Find out how they did this and what it means to do something like this. You want to get in their head. It's like when you hear someone say, oh, it takes one to know one, because those are things that you can study, things that you can work on and improve and try different techniques at. This one's also going to sound a little silly to some people, but words of self-affirmation. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think, let me Google that. Yeah. Basically, you want to talk to yourself like you are a child, maybe. You want to talk to yourself in the way that you would talk to somebody going through something, in a nice way. If you're the type of person to be mean about it, don't do that. Don't be mean. We want to be nice to ourselves here. Because when you're in an art block, you just feel like kind of stuck. You feel hopeless, and you feel like you're never going to get out of it. But there's things that we constantly have to remind ourselves, things that I try to tell myself every single day. And I pray every single day about these things too. I'm not just like trying to tell myself, I'm like asking God for help. Basically, you just want to tell yourself nice things over and over again. And if you're the type of person that thinks that like self-affirmation words are weird or silly, I think you're weird and silly, and not in the good way. That's right. I think you're mean. Unless you try these out with an open mind. They're not going to work very well if you don't have an open mind, obviously. You need to talk to yourself like a good friend. Tell yourself every now and then, say, hey, I know you're trying. I know that you're doing your best. And that's okay. Not every day is going to be the same. Not every day is going to be 100%. And that's okay. You did your best. You're doing good. You can do this. I believe in you. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. I believe in you. And I believe that you can do anything that you set your mind to. Take it one step at a time. Give yourself one task every single day. Even if it's a non-creative task. I'm the type of person who thrives off of a list. I love lists. So give yourself something to do every day. Whether that's to clean up your space, clean up your little studio, prep a new canvas, pick out a color scheme for your next project. One thing. You tackle one thing. And that's all you need to do. And then tomorrow, you do the next thing, or you can do it again for a different thing. The key is one thing, one step at a time. Whenever I say something like that, I think of that one interview with, I think it was Will Smith, where he was like,
you don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. And you do that every single day.
And soon you have a wall.
And soon you have a wall.
Art block is kind of something that's just like, it's part of life, dude. It really is. At the end of the day, it's never gonna go away. Art block is something that you can never fully get rid of, but you can learn how to manage it, how to work around it, and how to set yourself up to be able to continue when you get out of it, finally. Now I know that there are so many other tips and tricks for you guys, and I've barely scratched the surface, but if you're here and you're still watching, please know that I am so proud of you, and I believe in you. That's right, me. I believe in you. Truly, this is something that will pass, and it might come back. It might not. For a while. That's okay. It happens. If your mind is a little more sad like mine, it might happen a little more often than you like. But that's okay. It happens. It's part of life. The only thing that we can do is learn how to cope with it. Learn how to get around it. Learn how to beat the system that your mind is playing tricks on you, if that makes any sense. This is kind of a new video for me. It's not really, it's just another sit down video. I've done quite a couple of them, but I feel like my attitude in this one is a little bit different. I feel different tonight, so I hope that portrays, I hope that you could see that. But anyways, please know that I love you guys so much and I'm so appreciative of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your art with the world. It doesn't matter what you do as an artist. Well, actually, it kind of does. But know that I love you and know that I appreciate you. Thank you guys for being here. I hope that I was able to give a little bit of good insight. I'm a little new to talking. I'm not very good at talking. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you liked it. And if you didn't, that's okay. I don't care. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell me what else you want to see from me. I love doing videos like this as much as it's like weird for me because I'm not like I said, I'm not the greatest at talking. As much as this feels weird for me, I don't mind doing it. I kind of like it. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.